When I was a boy, I grew up in town where the streets have curbs. But I spent a lot of time out in the country because that's where most of my family lived. It's where my grandma lived. And when I say out in the country, I don't mean rich people who just live out in the country and don't know anything. I'm talking about real country. I'm talking about a state of mind, not a location. And one of the things you learn out in the country is some of the harsh realities of life, like where your meat comes from. I don't remember this happening before or since this story, although I'm sure it did all the time, but I wasn't around it. But on this particular day, we were going out to Grandma's house so that my dad and his sister could kill some chickens. That's as much as I know about the story. I don't know if my dad was helping his sister kill chickens. I don't know if they owned the chickens together. I don't know. Who cares? But what I knew was that I didn't like that at all. And neither did my sister. Now, my sister, she's younger than me. She is a female. It is not that weird for a little girl to not want the grown-ups to kill the animals, right? I was a Bambi-loving, hunter-hating, overly sensitized by his mother little boy who would get in fist fights with other guys in my class if they killed a caterpillar. I was a very, militant animal cruelty kind of guy until it was time to eat, and then I would eat any animal you put in front of me. A lot of hypocrisy involved with some of this stuff. But that's a whole other story. But as far as this story goes, something had to be done. I mean, I had to do something to try to stop this. If not stop the entire thing, at least help. Of course, they went into the area where they were going to do it and told us not to go there. And me and my sister went directly to where they were going. We had to sneak in. It's like a military operation. Again, I was using my leopard-like stealth. And of course, me and my sister share similar genetics. And so she tends to be somewhat superhuman also. So she had no problem using her leopard-like stealth either, believe me. And we got up in there, and what we saw was truly horrifying. I mean, this is one of the key events of my entire life, because as a child, I didn't understand any of this, and it was just awful. First of all, my dad and his sister looked like they were having more fun than I had ever seen those two have before. They just weren't a fun pair usually when they got together, but something about, I don't know, just being the two of them and nobody else around, familiar bond, the camaraderie that comes from doing a job together. I don't know. They looked like they were having a great time. And what they were having a great time doing was wringing the necks of chickens. What that means is that their method of dispatching with the chickens was to grab them by the head and just start swinging them. You swing it like that enough times, and the body will just fly off the chicken. Now, this was such a horror show that I don't even remember I don't even know what's real anymore. I do remember a beheaded chicken coming very close to us where we were hidden in some trees or tall grass or whatnot. And this chicken, I remember it running towards us with no head, because they run around for a while. It is awful. It's running towards us, and its head is gone, and there's blood just shooting out of the neck. Just every time the chickens Every time the poor chicken's heart beats, squirt, squirt, squirt. It got so close to us, I thought it was going to run right into us. It was horrifying. It was so horrifying. Another thing that I remember that I'm sure didn't happen. I'm sure this didn't happen now because of conversations I had with my dad later. But I could have sworn that he did it 2 at a time one time, you know? Cowboy style. Just, it's like, he didn't do that. I'm pretty sure he didn't do that. But somehow I remember it that way. And, oh man, believe me, there's nothing scarier when you're already scared of your dad, and this is the guy who disciplines you, than watching him laugh and smile while he brutally kills animals. Because you start thinking, look what this guy's capable of. Look at this. My daddy is a killing machine. One little detail just to add to the story. My dad is wearing a wife beater. Again, who knows if what I'm remembering is correct or not. But he's wearing a wife beater. We didn't call them wife beaters, but it was one of those tank top t-shirts. That's the kind of t-shirt my dad wore. And he's a big dude, you know, like me. He's a big, strong dude with a wife beater on, and he is whipping chickens around until their heads pop off, and there is blood on the tank top. Blood on the Tank Top, my favorite Bob Dylan album. So what me and my sister do is we see where the chickens have been pinned up, waiting to have their heads yanked off. And that's horrible too, because the chickens were in clear sight of what was happening. So every chicken that was there was seeing, hey, every once in a while they come over and grab one of us and go over there and whip us around until our head pops off. Fortunately, chickens may be the dumbest animal on earth, so they probably didn't even understand what was happening, because chickens are so dumb. Anyway, the pen that they were in was a big metal cage with a top on it, but no bottom. You just put it down on the ground. The ground is the bottom. 4 cage walls and a cage on top with a door on the top, so you could open the door, reach in, grab a chicken, and pull it out. It's going to make too much noise, and you're going to be too visible if you try to go and actually get the chickens out of the top. So what we do is we come up behind the chicken cage. Again, elbows, military precision, leopard-like stealth. We creep up behind that cage. They're over there, my dad and my aunt, having so much fun brutally killing things that they don't even notice us. We slip up there, and I lift that cage up just enough for my sister to reach under and grab one chicken and let it go. And then we retreat. We're going to do it one at a time. And I believe we tried to time it. They take one, we take one. They take one, we take one, so that they won't notice. And I think we were able to liberate 3 or 4 chickens before my dad noticed that the chickens were disappearing faster than he was disappearing them, which is pretty quick. My dad's a smart guy. He's good with numbers. He's very attentive, and it's hard to get one over on him. And then we were in big trouble because my dad and my aunt were not in the kind of physical condition that lends itself to chasing down chickens. And catching chickens isn't easy. All these chickens that had been gathered had not only been caught, which ain't easy, but they were also selected. There is a selection process in choosing the chickens you are going to dispatch and eat. I have no idea what that selection process is, but he was none too happy that a tremendous amount of chicken catching / selection had been done away with by me and my goody-goody sister who are trying to save the dumb chickens because we don't even understand that it's so delicious to eat them when he later fries them. When he caught me, I had one chicken in my hand, and my dad said, "Why? Why, son? Why did you do this? We've killed dozens of chickens. You were only able to save 2 or 3. You didn't even make a difference." And I held up that chicken and I said, "Daddy, I made a difference to this one." And then I threw that chicken and it magically flew for 3 feet and then landed on the ground and ate some gravel. So now I'm in big trouble. My sister probably wasn't in trouble, especially with my dad. I got it so much worse than her. Dads are terrible, usually, with disciplining their daughters. They just don't have the stomach for it. They can beat the crap out of their sons, though. Oh, thanks, Dad. Thanks for the lessons in life. So, Daddy is raining down blows. I mean, I got a whooping. It was not a whipping. It was nothing akin to delicious cream that has been whipped. It was a whooping, and that was particularly awful because sometimes your dad gives you a whooping if he's that kind of dad, and it's scary because he's bigger and stronger than you, and blah, 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 blah. Until you get a whooping from your dad while he's wearing a blood-soaked wife beater after you just watched him brutally murdering a bunch of birds. Well, I think I got you beat in the whooping department. I hope my childhood trauma entertains you. Like and subscribe, and the next time you're eating some delicious chicken, please think of this story.